And we are back. Yes, guys, we have a championship to be played. Toronto Master Event. Can Big Game Jessie P defend her Rogers title, taking on Amanda Anisimova from the USA? We have an All American final. Listen, I say it all the time. Once the tour hits the North American leg to wrap things up with the US Open as the last slam of the season, the Americans really start to play well. But first, guys, I want to say let's just wish a big get well very, very fast for Danielle Collins, who announced that she will not be competing in Cincinnati or the US Open. Unbelievable. I am so sad to hear her last season on tour. By the way, I do think she's going to have the baby. She's going to work on starting a family. Once she has a child, I do think Collins will come back to play at least one or two more seasons. That's just how I feel. That's just what I think. But if not, it's going to be very sad. Danielle Collins, an amazing American talent, to not just play that US Open where we could have just sent her off with just kind of like, I don't want to say in Serena style. Serena's one of a kind, but just having watched Danielle Collins at the US Open for so many times, I just I just felt, if you take a look at the short, I had a short where she faced Osaka. Remember that year? I think it was maybe a couple years ago where she beat Osaka at the US Open. She was just so pumped up for that match. And it's just going to be sad just not sending her off with just a big thank you for the memories in New York. It's going to be sad not seeing her there, but I don't know. Let's hope something miraculous happens and she's able to play the US Open. But she did announce that, yes, due to injury, that she suffered in Paris. And by the way, I should talk about Paris. Iga and Danielle, they're going at it again. And look, we remember the comments Danielle made. She said she just doesn't like the fakeness. And Iga said she wasn't sure if it was the fact that she took too long during the changeover. Danielle said no, she just doesn't like the fakeness. I'm going to do a video to talk about that because I just feel that Danielle's just one of the few personalities on tour that just doesn't hold back and she'll stand up, she'll speak her mind to anyone. And I just feel a lot of players, they want to say stuff about Iga, but they don't want the smoke. And Danielle does not care. She's going to give anyone the smoke. But listen, guys, I'll do a video to discuss that later. I don't want to take away from these two amazing ladies. Big game Jessie P, Amanda Anisimova. Listen, guys, we all saw Pegula take out Iga last year to win this Rogers title. Now, as the men are in Montreal, the ladies rotate to Toronto. We can expect to see the ladies in Montreal again. And look, Toronto's a beautiful, beautiful city, right, guys? For the English speaking subscribers, you'll probably have a better time in Toronto versus Montreal. I mean, unless you speak French, I'm sorry, unless you speak French, Montreal could be tough because it's a French speaking province. Most citizens there speak French and they don't speak English. But Toronto, everyone speaks English. But nonetheless, guys, big game Jessie P finds herself here in the championship match. She has not dropped a set at all, right? The most recent win against Diana Snyder, 6-4, 6-3. Peyton Stearns put up a fight, but I do feel, a straight set victory, 6-4, 7-5 over Peyton Stearns. I do feel that Pegula probably should have won that like 6-2, 6-3 or something. She did beat her, I felt, a lot easier than what the score suggested. And if we take a look at Amanda, who her last couple matches, very, very good. Emma Navarro, all right, she won that in three, and she took out Arena Sabalenka. Uh, I do want to focus on something that Pegula said, and this is something that I also said last week. Right now, the ladies, no one looks to be in great form right now. And this is why you had so many players choose to not go to France. But it's disappointing when someone like Sabalenka doesn't go to France. And I can understand why. Her country wasn't being, represented. And the reality here is for her to not go to Paris and to look how she's looked in terms of her form these last couple tournaments, that's unacceptable. Sabalenka should have won DC, and she should probably be in the championship match here. She's not in good form. I saw her up close and personal. Sabalenka does not look good. She's not in good form. And Pegula, and I said this, I don't think any ladies right now on tour look good. Coco doesn't look good. Pegula's getting through these matches based on her experience, but she doesn't look her best either. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys. Iga Swiatek said it best. She likes to be in her best form at least 5 times throughout the year because why? The tour is in a different city or country every week, every other week. Sometimes these ladies forget they're professional athletes. I'm not going to say they forget, but sometimes when you're in let's say Paris, for example, you become a tourist. I'm sorry. And look, Thomas said it best. We're not tourists. We're professional athletes. We're here to do a job. We're working. But when you're in these beautiful cities and places, you become a sightseer. You're trying foods. You're doing different things. Next thing you know, add Paris and Toronto, and you're not informed. Add DC, you're not informed, right? And I'm disappointed because Pegula said it best. No one on tour right now looks good. Pegula said it best. I said it last week. No one looks good on tour right now. And if you ask me who's going to win the US Open, probably the person that gets hot right now, and right now Pegula is she might be that person, even though she doesn't look her best, she's still playing better than anyone else that entered this tournament. And I'm going to tell you right now, the chances are whoever wins Cincinnati is probably going to win the US Open. Because I don't think any of these ladies look good. I don't think Sabalenka is going to win the US Open. I don't think so. I think she would probably need, and then again, I don't necessarily want to say that because here's Sabalenka. She works very hard. She trains very hard, and she can turn it on. I've seen Sabalenka literally turn it on in 2 weeks. And this stretch of the tour where they're now using the smaller balls again, I do think if Sabalenka has a good showing in Cincy, I think she can go deep in the U.S. Open. So I don't want to say she's not going to win it, but to me, she looks heavy. Sabalenka looks overweight, and she trains so hard. I think a week, 2 weeks is enough time for her to be where she needs to be. But again, Pegula said it best. No one on tour looks good right now. None of them do. And if you take a look at Pegula in this championship match, she owns a head-to-head against Amanda. She just beat her in Charleston, which I don't think she played her best tennis there either. But also last year she beat her in Cincinnati. They've played twice. Pegula owns the head-to-head, and Amanda's did win one set off of her in Charleston, but I felt Pegula took it easy on her. I saw that match. Amanda wasn't in her best form, and I don't even think she should have made it to that round anyway. But take a look at someone like Pegula. Look, she's 25 and 10, right? But listen, guys, she's won 10 of her last 13. She's 13 and 5 on hard. Last year she won 43 matches on hard, but she's had the injury this year, and she's finally turning it back on where she needs to be. But if we take a look at her last couple of matches, take a look. What I want to take a look at the break point opportunity she's giving opponents. So she's gonna have to really get that in gear, right? So she's giving up the last couple of matches, 8 opportunities for her opponents to break her. Now she's saving them, right? So of the 8 opportunities, she saved 5. She's only surrendered 3. But her first serve and play hasn't looked that great. It just hasn't. She's giving up a lot of faults, and opponents are having the opportunity to step in and tee off on these second serves. And someone like Amanda, who's here after very, very impressive wins over Emma Navarro, who a lot of people thought that third set would go to Emma after that blowout 6-2 second set that Emma had. Now, Emma's more of a technical player, but Amanda reminds me of Sabalenka. She's got the power, she's got the forehand to hang in there with any of these ladies on tour because she can really crack that thing, right? Against Pegula, she's the more unconventional player. She's going to have to take risks. She's going to have to work the sidelines, and she's going to have to work these down the line winners where she can avoid these long exchanges and rallies with Pegula. If Pegula just continues to play tennis and get balls back, she'll have the better opportunity to win these rallies and these exchanges. However, if Amanda comes out with her power, it's going to be short rally winners. And look, if she holds, Pegula slips up, anything can happen in a match like this. My personal opinion, I think I think Pegula's technical. I think this is her championship to lose. I do have Pegula winning this match. That's my pick. I just think Pegula, she's going to make the proper adjustments to Amanda. If she knows Amanda's playing a lot more aggressive, then I think she'll mix in more short balls where Amanda hates to run and come forward. And I think that's really the isolator that Pegula has. Once Amanda gets comfortable from the baseline and deep, you're going to see Pegula go to a little bit more short balls mid-court. So therefore, you're giving Amanda less time to react. You're giving her less court to work with. And I do think overall, Pegula's technicality, her technical skills, her mental IQ, the in-match adjustments, Amanda's not really going to make a lot of in-match adjustments. She's going to play one way. And what I mean by that is she's going to look to beat you with deep. She's going to look to beat you from deep with her power, and she's going to look to really, really blast winners. Whereas Pegula, I feel she's got a lot more tools in her toolbox to get the victory here, and I do think Pegula is going to win this match. So my pick is for Pegula to win this championship to defend her Rogers title here in Canada. And look, she's from Buffalo. She's not too far from here, so the crowd is it's going to be cheering for both. This is an American crowd, right? They speak English here, but the reality here is I think they're going to be cheering a little bit more for Pegula in this match. And if Amanda gets frustrated and disappointed, like we know she can, it could be a short day for her. So I like Pegula to win this match. That's the official prediction. We have Jessica Pegula winning the Toronto Open. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to cover Cincinnati, and I'm going to try to give you the entire draw day by day. So like the video, show some love. We are back.